I have spent the last plus 20 years mastering manifestation. And in this video, I will share with you one big aha. And I will reveal it to you. One big aha that I just had. And it's so powerful to understand what actually happened from my $1.5 million debt and into financial freedom. And there's so many different strategies, there's so many things and ways to think and act and all of this, but there was just one big thing that came to me that I want to share with you in this video. Plus 25 years of mastering manifestation. So let me just rewind a little bit. I'm one of those guys who have had a lot of dreams in my life, and most of them have been about something big, creating something, living in freedom, living in a big house, in a mansion, having a big car, things like that. Maybe you know people like that. And I worked so hard for so many years to achieve that. So hard, so many years to achieve that. I had a leadership job for many years, and I was like, I worked hard and I created very big stuff. I learned a lot. I had more than 500 people in my team. And still I was not fulfilled. I was like, there is more for me. So I had visions, I had dreams, and I tried to achieve those things. And I did that beside my job because I wanted this big mansion. I wanted those cars. I wanted to have build my empire. And I'm going to share some of the things that happened for me because there's like a very, very powerful picture that came to me. That's kind of like what changed it all. And that picture is something about how you drive a car. So simple with your 2 feet. Before I had the big shift, when I worked plus full-time in my leadership job, and then I've written a total of maybe 4 or 5 books now, but at that time it was 3 or 4. I did that in the mornings before going to the job. And in the afternoons or evenings, I created different websites. I tried so many things, but I didn't get a result. Then I began building a property empire, and I created that. And I had a small empire. And I was like, now. But then came the financial crisis in 2008, and that led to my $1.5 million debt. So when I look back, I was working so hard. I struggled so much. I was always frustrated. I was always in stress. I was always desperate. And I worked so hard. And actually, I burnt myself out. And it changed from the $1.5 million debt and into financial freedom. I did that in less than 5 years. Actually, I think it was less than 4 years, but to be sure, less than 5 years. I changed the whole situation. And when I say it was with the help, probably of the universe, but also from a coach, also from something else. And the big shift that happened for me, it was at a seminar, and it was like me, and maybe you know people like this, so it was like me really working really hard uphill all the time, and I had the wind in my face, and like every force that you can imagine was kind of like it was trying to pull me back all of the time, and it only led to the $1.5 million debt. So what I realized, it just came to me this last day, what I realized is that I spent so much time thinking, strategizing, trying to figure things out. I spent so much time doing that. I followed the advices and I sat with my paper and my pen, and every time I had to make a decision, I was putting down all the pluses, all the minuses, and I was trying to calculate things, and does this work or does this not work? And the result was the $1.5 million debt and lots of working hours. So my big shift, the first one that happened, and then comes the picture, the first one that happened was that I was so desperate in the $1.5 million debt, I lost my control of everything. And it didn't feel good. I was sick, I tired, and I didn't sleep for weeks. And I was like, I did another video about that, but I was like, I made a decision in a moment one night where I just like sat up in sweat, and I was just like banging my hands down in the bed and screaming, "No, it's gonna stop now, I'm gonna solve this." And at that moment, it was like my whole body shifted from desperate into power, from don't know how to figure all of this out, from a victim into a hero. I'm gonna solve this. I don't know why this happened to me. I'm gonna solve this. Those kind of changes in one moment. My hands banging down, and with that banging down, I felt some energy. And this is leading up to the thing, because I began studying things. I began reading about mindset. I began reading about, law of attraction, manifestation. I began reading about all of these things. And one book that I read that and I reread that and I read that and I reread that. It's called Secret of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. And I remember that I read the book, and this is, I don't know when it was exactly, but around 2008, maybe a little later. And I was in this leadership job, and I was like, I wanted to go to this seminar called the Millionaire Mind Intensive, but I could not figure out how to say this to my boss, the CEO, the founder of the company, because I will come and say I want to be a millionaire, and I was working for him, with him. We were kind of like partners. So I just reread the book, and I was like, okay, if I am stopping with this work, I will attend this seminar. And I was in that depth. I stopped with the job, and I called up the company. I said, you know what, I read your book for so many years now. So when can I? And they said, okay, in a month we got a seminar in London. You can join that. I did. I signed up. I had a big debt, but I signed up. Hotel, flight, things like that. I think actually they gave me the seminar very cheap. So in that room, here comes the picture that I want to share with you that helped me from the $1.5 million debt and into financial freedom in less than 5 years. On that seminar, I started in the back, in the comfort zone. It was comfortable sitting in the back. And one teacher was saying, you guys in the back, I'm going to challenge you now. And after the next break, sit in the front and feel how you feel. I took the challenge, I sat in the front, and I was scared of sitting there. And he saw it, and he acknowledged it, and he said, brave, well done. And I felt that shift. I felt the shift. And at a point at the seminar, they spoke about coaching, and something inside of me again was like, this is me. I need a coach. I tried to do this so many years by myself. I need someone who knows how to take me where I want. So I need a coach. Soon after that, in a break, I spoke with a person. We just clicked. We went out for coffee and talked and about our different situation. And he said, you know what? I know this guy. You want to meet with him. I'll connect the two of you because he's the right one for you. That was a Dutch guy, and we are still friends today. He became my coach, my first high-ticket coach, and we had a partnership for years. He was the one who helped me decide about my cleaning company that I grew to 60 people in less than 3 years, to help me with my own coaching and seminar business. as a hobby that I grew to a great revenue, and actually to become financially free. Now, the thing is, what happened for me after my banging down the hands was something shifted inside of me. I found the book, I read the book many times. I actually stopped that job, and I didn't think about all of these things. This is the thing that I want to share with you. I didn't think about all of this. I just followed the flow. I was desperate, but I also had the power after my decision. So I followed the flow. Read the book, did the exercises, called the company after me quitting the job, signed up for the seminar, and it was scared for me to travel alone, and also to admit that I was in a bad situation. I went from the back to the front, I got acknowledged. I heard about the coach, and I kind of inside of me decided that I needed that coach. I met with this guy. You see, it's kind of like things were just flowing for me, and I had an online meeting with my coach. I did a very out of my comfort zone. I signed up to a high ticket program, and I was in a big debt. I did it anyway. And I was just following the flow. So the old me before my banging my hands down was trying to figure it all, was sitting down with the plus minus checklist and strategizing and things like that. And my picture today is that I was just blocking everything that the universe wanted to help me with. And the universe was like, well, if you're trying to figure it out yourself, Michael, let me just help you to understand that I'm here to help you. So I'm going to give you some more of the bad stuff until you realize that there's help from me here. That's my picture of this. So after that decision, banging the hands down, what happened was that I started to follow the flow. I didn't think too much. I knew that I tried to think myself into the big results, and it got me only into that $1.5 million debt. So that image, and actually the image that came to me, I love this image. It wasn't invented by me because I saw this image on a seminar later on. But the image that I want to share with you here that really had an impact for me, and I'm diving into this again, was, like I said, like driving a car with your 2 feet. I know that we got automatic cars now, but you got 1 foot for the brake and 1 foot for the gas, right? So if you put the foot down on the gas, the car will accelerate. If you put your foot down on the brake, the car will stop. The thing is, how most people operate, I learned that, and I was just like, that's me. They have their foot halfway down on the brake, and then halfway down on the gasoline, on the speeder. That's how they run their life. Safety, security, I don't really know, I have to think about it and all of these things. And guess what happens, because that's what happened to me. Guess what happened if you drive a car like this for a couple of days, but for a human being, for me, it was many, many years. Brake down, foot down. What happens, right? And maybe even feel free to let me know in the comments. I love comments. Just let me know if you got an example from your life where you see yourself driving with the foot on the brake and maybe a little on the gasoline, the speeder. So what happened to me was, on that seminar, all right, I found my coach. That was a couple of days after that I had my first online meeting with him. But also at the end of the seminar, they upsold the seminar to many seminars. And that was a big investment. And I had sweat in my fingers. I remember that I was sweating. I felt the nervousness and all of that. And I was just like, I had a MasterCard at that time. And I was like, no problem. I'm going to figure this out. This is the right thing. I followed the flow. I went through all of that nervousness and I just signed up. Went to the back and signed up. But the thing is, that's the speeder and the brake. It was also simple for me removing my feet from the brake and putting my foot to the metal all the way down. Because that was what happened. The investments, the meeting with the coach, signing up with the coach, and just do the stuff, deciding about my cleaning company, figuring out the sales process, beginning to hire team members, and just being in the fast lane with that company. So I grew that company to 60 people in less than 4 years. And that company helped me because I used those strategies also without thinking too much about it to going into coaching. I could begin to help entrepreneurs with the things, business owners, with the things that I learned myself. I did myself. So I helped them and they paid me like I paid my coach for the help. And they created great results like I did with my coach. So I hope you get this image because this is so powerful and this is really something that happens. And I've seen it again with myself. That if I'm not aware, I'm kind of like putting also the foot down on the brake. Like I have to be a little careful with this. I have to think through it. I have to figure it out. All of these things. Do you know what I'm speaking about? So this is really powerful stuff, and it's my true story, so it's not something that I had to think too much about. I just had the picture, the image, and I wanted to share this with you. And I do think because I didn't have the strategy for all of this. So as I said, it's kind of like the universe was knocking at my door saying, Michael, if you don't want to listen, I want to help you, but if you don't want to listen, I'm going to throw some more problems until you realize that I'm here to help you. I decided I'm going to solve this instead of being the victim. And I got so much help finding the right people, the right seminar, the right coach, the right seminars after that. And a lot of amazing customers for the cleaning company and team members for the cleaning company and also clients for my coaching company. Amazing people. So I hope this makes sense and I hope you enjoyed this little story here. So I felt like sharing this. And this is a part of the manifestation masterclass that I'm doing. It's a community. It's just starting out. And if you want to, because what I did in the masterclass, this is free, cost nothing. In the manifestation masterclass, I put in the foundational things of what I actually did at that time. Meaning I got very clear on my vision, on my dream life. And two things, my mindset, how to shift it, and my emotional, how to transform trapped energies, things that held me down before. Because all of this was inner work. And I worked with the inner part of me and I got help from something bigger. So if you want to check that out, there's a link below this video. And obviously, please, if you like this just a little bit, give this video a like and feel free to join our community here and subscribe. All right? Lots of love.